Thank you for jumping on, Stephen. I really appreciate I mean, I've known you for probably 10 plus years now. We've chatted back and forth. I mean, when you were at Ad Badger and now you're, launching these awesome softwares and you're coaching and your podcast is incredible and just the great insights come from there. And what made you really want to jump into the SaaS world? Honestly, like that's a transition from coach to seller to SaaS. That's a whole different ballgame there. What kind of got you into that realm?
Yeah. It's a little bit of an awkward, I guess, tale that I started off in Amazon ad tech with SaaS, working at Ad Badger, like you said, and eventually left because I thought, you know what, manual bid management through bulk sheets can outperform automated systems, and I was a diehard on that,
Yeah.
and made a living for myself by just managing people's ads. And the biggest way in which I close sales, like, I'd get on I'd get on sales calls with potential clients that I would find on either Upwork or LinkedIn. And
Yeah.
the way in which I close those deals is I would guarantee them that the net improvement in profitability for their business would more than exceed the cost of my services or their money back.
Ooh, that's a good
And
guarantee.
now, granted, I have to audit the account first to make that,
Yeah.
but usually after auditing an account, let's just say you're charging like 2 grand, 3 grand for managed services. And if this is an account that's spending 30 to 50 grand, it's usually pretty easy to find 2 to 3 grand worth of
Yeah.
wasted spend,
Yeah.
minimum. And then on top of that, you can find like an additional 10 grand or 20 grand worth of like missed sales opportunities.
Mm.
And then you combine those and it works. And I was never able to make that guarantee with most of the experience for most people when they flip on bidding automation is their ACoS goes through the roof.
Yeah.
That's like the that's what always happens. Yeah, sure, maybe sales increased by 10%, but ACoS spiked like
Yeah.
50%,
Yep.
and now they're not even profitable in the month. They're losing money. So that was how I kind of got my start, really, thinking for myself, being successful. And during all that, I was like, dang, these bulk sheets suck though. Like there has to be a faster way. And I was like, if only there was a tool that could allow me to quickly make these manual bidding adjustments without just fully automating the thing, like that would be perfect, but it didn't exist. And eventually I got in contact with a dev team and was like, you guys want to help me build this project? And they said, let's do it. So that's how Adlabs was born, just a cool origin story, I guess, going from hating software to realizing, shoot, I really need software. So yeah.
I mean, you've been introducing formulas since I've started hearing from you, from Ad Badge and obviously on your podcast. And I have to say, you're definitely. I mean, my question is, you're definitely putting those into the software, correct? Like you're trying to basically kind of take what
Dude,
you've taken from bulk sheets,
yes.
and just kind of give it to us in like a
It
kind of a
is.
silver platter.
Yeah, it is the bidding formulas that like I discovered, which aren't I say I discovered them. It's not like I'm the only
Yeah,
one who's doing them.
yeah,
They weren't widely taught. I had to discover them on my own. I have since seen other people like also have these come to the same conclusions. So, I'm in good company, but I definitely hold a minority view. It's a very small minority view. Some of these things that I came up with, when other people see that I have this, they're like, dude, that's exactly what I've been like wanting for. But
yeah,
we took all this logic that I've been very public with in my LinkedIn posts and in our podcast with how it's done, the simple version. And then we put that on steroids when we were able to like build a whole algorithm around it in our app. That was the one thing I was never able to really do
mm,
in spreadsheets is whenever you have like a low data keyword, for example, like this keyword's got 1 click, no sales. The question, and this is the biggest pitch for our software and really just for anybody, I think, for if you're new to Amazon, this is a great question for you to just jumpstart your learning. If you're a veteran, this is a great problem to like test yourself and see, do you actually know what you're talking about? And
yeah,
then if you're wondering why you should use Adlabs, here's the answer, right?
yeah.
You've got something with 1 click, no sales. Do you increase the bid, or do you leave it as is, or do you decrease it? And I'll tell you, most people out there are going to say, I don't know. That's a good question. Software, pretty much like 99% of software algorithms out there are going to increase the bid because they're going
Mm,
to say it is a low data, low visibility keyword. We have to
Yeah.
increase visibility. We need to get more clicks. And people think that that's the right answer. It can be potentially the right answer,
Right.
except for when you have thousands of keywords with one
Yeah.
click and no sale, that none of
Yes.
them are individually,
Yes.
killing you. Like nothing's high spend on converting.
Those little
Nothing.
cuts. Those little
Yeah,
cuts.
it's death by a thousand cuts. And if you were to just increase all those bids by like 5 or 10%, and you're now all that non-converting, you just increase the amount of non-converting spend,
Yeah.
and now you've really got an ACoS problem on your hands. That's why every other tool fails.
Mm.
And frankly, to fix that, it was literally just a level of logic that any other tool could probably, if they're listening to this, hopefully they're not, because they could take this logic and implement it.
We'll edit this part out. So
Yeah,
between you.
don't let them know. Yeah,
Yeah.
but the way in which I solved that in bulk sheets is something like, we have an episode from that Amazon Ads podcast where we talk about how do you calculate bid ceilings, and we dive into this, where basically you can increase that bid up until a certain point. Unfortunately, with so many softwares, I see them increase these bids on low visibility. They get up to $10, $15, $20 bids. It's not an exaggeration. I had it with an
Yeah.
account this year, or technically last year, where we were testing out automation because the client really wanted to,
Yeah.
and it raised a ton of bids to $20 because I thought they were low visibility. And it wasn't that the problem wasn't that we weren't bidding high enough. The problem was that the search term itself just didn't get a lot of volume. Or if it did get a lot of volume, there was another campaign that was like picking up those clicks. So
Oh,
in
gotcha.
this campaign in particular, it was perpetually stuck in this low visibility state, and we're getting up to $20 bids, and it might periodically get like a $5 CPC, and it's never going to raise any flags. But you have enough of those going on, it's gonna kill the performance of the account. So the way is, and by the way, I'm get really excited and amped on these topics, and I start talking fast. So just
Keep going, dude. You're
forgive me.
good.
Yeah.
I'll slow you down
So
on the roll.
yeah. Put me on 0.5x speed. But the way in which we solve it is, in that other episode, we talk about how do you calculate a bid ceiling, and it's basically just based on like your average cost per acquisition, your average order value, average conversion rate, etc.
Mhm.
I would normally in a bulk sheet just take those metrics at an account level, saying, okay, on average, I can
Mhm.
afford around $1 CPC. So I will, if I have a low visibility keyword, if it's at, one click, no sales, I will increase the bid by, 5%, 10%, etc. But if the bid's already at $5, I'm not going to continue increasing that any further,
Mm.
because all it's going to take is one day. Amazon's a second price auction, and maybe we've been lucking out that we're only getting charged 50 cents so far.
Yeah.
But all it's going to take is one other competitor to also bid $5, because they also have some broken automation that's increasing those bids ad infinitum for them. And now once you both have those bids at $5, now you are both bidding $5.
Oh my
And
god.
if these bid optimizations are going through on a daily basis, let's just say they just turned it on and now you're both bidding $5, and you could both spend like several $1,000s in a
Yeah.
single day on that one keyword. And then, now it's, you got 1,000% ACoS, and it's a $5 CPC. And now this system's going to slowly decrease that bid by 10% every single day. And it's going to take you, 2 or 3 weeks just to reduce it back to where it should have been.
Yeah.
When we could have just used common sense to say, if on average these are our stats and we can't really afford more than $1, then we're going to apply a limit here to like maybe $2 or $3 is going to be the very ceiling. And what you're
Mm.
basically allowing for there is, maybe this search term converts twice as good as average for us, and therefore it would be worth twice as much of a CPC compared to the average. So we'll put that bid ceiling at $2. If we should be trying to hit $1, we're going to let that bid ceiling go to $2 and leave it at that. And you can also play with that. You can also just set the bid ceiling to $1. Like,
Yeah.
don't exceed what you can on average afford. That's being super
Yeah.
conservative. I like going to 2x sometimes, just to give a little bit more room to push those low visibility, low data keywords to see how that does. And if you really want to get aggressive, you can go up to 3x. I don't usually go above 3x. So does that make sense? You think the listening audience would be following so far?
It makes perfect sense. And those are everywhere, man, in my reports, man. Just one click, like, man, so many. And I don't touch them. Like, to answer your question, I don't touch them, until like they get to a certain threshold of clicks. Like touching the bid, like I won't touch the bid. Like, just if
Yeah.
they're not going to happen, there's not going to happen. But it, like, brings them into a pivot table over like 30 to 60, 90 days. How many has this actually clicked those one little clicks? adds up to
Yeah.
like 4 or 5. I'm like, okay, well, now I can just negate you because you're just annoying now. So, but 100%. I mean, you make crystal clear, and I feel like a lot of people have that same issue is like, those situations where you don't really know, and someone who was like, he was been working these ads for so long, been in so many bulk files and bullshits and running this data, for you to finally, introduce this in a way where, the people like me can, what we all ultimately want most in our lives is time back,
Right.
and like software gives us that time back. So you introducing, something that, you just basically kind of compiled in this last few minutes and put it into a software for us to utilize. That's so much time back to us from using those damn bulk sheets, man.
Yeah. And
Woo.
and I was telling you that I was just using my overall like account average,
Yeah,
benchmarks. What we do in the software where things get freaking wild is we look at the ad group level. Assuming the ad group has enough data, we're as granular to the ad group. So, because you could have one product with a super high AOV or a super high conversion
yeah,
rate, that's going to be way different from like your account average, right? One product averages a 5% conversion rate, one averages a 20% conversion rate. The
yeah.
target CPC for those should be different. So we drill down to the individual ad group, and that is going to inform all of our keyword bids. So when we're saying, here's a keyword bid, it's currently at $5. It's low visibility. It's one click, no sales, whatever. Should we increase the bid or should we leave it as is or should we decrease it? We're going to look at the ad group and be like, okay, on average, we can only afford $1. We're actually going to decrease that bid on that low visibility item because it shouldn't be $5. We can't afford that.
Yeah.
If the ad group doesn't have enough data, we're going to look at the campaign to pull in some benchmarks around there. If the campaign doesn't have enough data, because maybe it's a new campaign or it's just a campaign that itself only gets like 5 clicks a month,
Yeah.
uh, you can then group campaigns together. Think of it as like portfolios. We call them campaign optimization groups because it
Okay.
funnels into our actual optimizer, our bid optimizer, and it creates an additional data point where if you ever have a low data campaign, this comes in particularly valuable around like determining placement settings for the campaigns. How much should you be increasing for top of search? You
Okay.
need to have you have to have a significant amount of data on each of the 3 placements, top of search, product pages, rest of search, to make an informed decision there. So if you've
Right.
got a campaign with only 10 clicks total, that's probably not enough data for each of the 3 placements for us to be calculated and calibrated there.
Right.
So we reference a group of campaigns that the manager puts together, campaigns of similar products or similar keyword types, so that we have a bit of a benchmark around what's the average cost per click, revenue per click, performance per click, or performance in general for this group of campaigns. That can then inform everything else in the algorithm from the placement settings down to the individual keyword bids. Now we know with
Mm.
relatively high confidence if there's an item, if there's a keyword with 1 click or 2 clicks and no sales, should we increase the bid or decrease the bid? Well, what's the campaign telling us to do? What's the group of campaigns telling us to do? On general, sometimes what happens is it's like, actually, we should be increasing the CPC on this keyword, but it shouldn't be coming from the keyword bid. The keyword bid needs to reduce from $1 to 50 cents. And we need to be increasing for top of search by 200% because we're identifying top of search conversion rates are so much better up
Gotcha.
there. So all of that kind of comes together in a really cool way. And if you'd let me, Dustin, I can actually like share my screen and show you some of just like what this would look like in
100%.
practice.
100%.
So let me pull it open. Are you seeing? Is this getting recorded? By the way, my screen is
That
also part of the recording.
that's a good I'm assuming so. I would assume Google figured that part out so far.
Well, we'll find out. I'm sure it
We're
is,
gonna
but
find out.
I'll try to be
I'm
descriptive
pretty
as
sure it is. I'm
possible.
I'm like 99% sure it is.
Yeah. So this is Adlabs, and this is a real client account. Although I had our developers run the. Oh, did you see this text?
What the
Is that part of the screen share? No.
what's text?
Oh, okay. I'm on my MacBook, and it showed me like an iMessage text from
Oh,
my
no, I
mom.
didn't see it. No. No, on
My
my it's
mom
on
was
your screen
asking me
now.
how my rash was doing. I'm just kidding. Just want to make sure
I'm
that
not gonna I'm not gonna take that out. I'm not gonna take that
no,
out.
I'm kidding. That was not the text. I was just making sure that wasn't also part of the screen share. But
No, I
I
see.
put it on do not disturb, so we're good now. All right. So I was saying here is the here's a real brand. I had our developers run the brand name and the campaigns through a random naming generator. So I don't
Oh,
want
gotcha.
anybody judging me based off of this campaign naming system because it's not real. So don't come at me. But
Judged.
yeah. So what happens, when you're coming in here to optimize your bids, um, first things first, the most important thing, and also part of why I could not stand bid automation, what a lot of people seem to underestimate is the importance and the value of date range selection for that optimization. So most algorithms are just going to be looking at the last 30 days, just kind of leave it at that. Some
Yeah.
might have like a little bit of a rolling window where it's like, we'll use a little bit of 60-day data, a little bit of 14-day data, et cetera. But they'll apply their own weightings with like put more emphasis on the recent data. But that can be nice unless if like you just came out of Father's Day or something and you've got products that made particularly great Father's Day gifts. And
Oh,
now all that
gotcha.
extra weighting is based off of the conversion rates, doing a 2x or 4x for the last 2 weeks during lead into Father's Day. And now it's cranking all your bids up for you right into the drop off of those conversion rates. And now you're going to experience horrible loss in profitability for the next 2 weeks
Oh,
until this
gosh.
system can recalibrate.
Yeah.
And point being, that's where being able to understand how to pick a time frame, whether you want to be calculating your bids based off the last 14 days, last 30 days, 60 days. What I typically do is like, I'll come in here and I'll just go year to date.
Yeah.
And things are a little bit weird because this account's had some out of stocks and some weird issues. So uh things look a little bit jagged here. You can always switch this toggle over to a weekly view, just kind of smoothing that out. Now I can kind of see like my conversion rate trends, ACOS trends, see everything that's going on here. But you might see, this is actually kind of interesting. ACOS or conversion rates kind of increase from 12% all the way up to 16%. And then more recently, they kind of tapered off back down to 12%. So
Mm,
when I'm choosing to optimize over this whole time period, I could just look at these last 2 weeks to have my data be a little bit more biased around these lower conversion rates. If I were to do the
right.
last 4 weeks, it would have a little bit of a more overly optimistic performance. Now, when I'm looking at the whole time frame together, it's around 12%, 13%. So that actually might not be too bad. I could do the whole day range, but let's say for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to do like the last 14-ish days. I should be seeing around, no, it's still pretty high here. So that's saying, 15% almost. I'm going to go a little bit shorter than that. Last like 10 days, maybe. Not typically recommended to go this short, but this account itself has quite a bit of data in it. So
Yeah.
yeah, ACOS has been like 35%. What I'm going to do here is select all the campaigns. I've got 131 here. I'm going to hit optimize bids. Now here's where things start getting really cool. I set my target ACOS. So for this account, he likes to be around 30, 35. Maybe I'll just say I want to go with 30. Then we have this prioritization drop down that's going to say it's going to be the same math no matter what you choose. I shouldn't say the same math. I should say the same logic no matter what you
Hmm.
choose. The difference is going to be basically we're going to move a couple of thresholds around depending on if you go for balanced. You can just optimize things in a balanced way versus prioritize reducing ACOS versus prioritizing your sales.
Oh, okay.
And when I was giving you that when I was talking about those bid ceilings a moment ago, you'll see we have a little smart bid ceiling toggle here. You could turn that off and just apply a manual bid ceiling that just says bid will never increase bids beyond, you can just say $2.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
But if you use the smart bid ceilings, that's when we start doing everything we were talking about looking at the ad groups, looking at the campaigns to pull those in. And if your prioritization is to reduce ACOS, we'll cap all the bid increases. We're usually increasing on these items here for low ACOS keywords, low visibility keywords. We're going to be increasing those bids. When you're going with reduce ACOS, we're going to cap the bid ceiling at exactly what the target CPC should be. We're not going to go above that. If you go balanced, we'll go up to 2x. If you go increase sales, we'll go up to 3x. So we're getting a little bit looser on those like low visibility items, letting those bids increase. And also the percentage increases is a little bit different. It'd be 5% increases with reduce, 10% increases with balance, and 20% with increased sales. So you
Oh,
can kind
okay.
of fine tune how you want these results to come out based off of, what you're seeing kind of like on a macro level, what's going on with your products. Like these are all decision points that I believe need to come from the PPC manager that other
Yeah.
systems can't dictate. Like obviously if your organic sales have been struggling a little bit and it's causing your ad cost of total sales to spike because you're not really getting that organic lift. And now, 80% of your sales are coming from ads. You might want to slow down on the spend so that you don't bankrupt the business, so you
Yeah.
can like be fluctuating your target A cost and your prioritization to kind of balance all of that with the client goals. So any questions so far on this? I'm getting winded myself from all. I'm not taking enough breaths in between sentences.
No, you're all good. Yeah. So one thing that I guess, really one of the most important things is you really got to know your target A cost and some tacos, because that's going to be right the biggest lever, the variable that's going to be used throughout this entire system. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Okay.
you've got to be quite strategic with that.
And can that be, because what about a target A cost on a SKU level, or is this more just campaign level, like dashboard level, or is this?
Yeah, good question. So you'll see there's a toggle here that says use optimization group settings. And so a few minutes ago, I was also alluding to that ability to like group campaigns
Yes.
together.
Yeah.
So if I cancel out of this and we go to optimization groups, again, this is all kind of like made up stuff. You see my blah, blah, blah here. But let's just assume, I'm doing like a single product campaign strategy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so let's just say each of these optimization groups are different product campaigns. So I've got like, how many is this here? Like 10-ish or maybe 15. So I've got like 10 or 15 products. They're all in single product campaigns. I just take one ASIN and it's got several. There's like an auto, there's a manual, whatever. I would just group those together into one optimization group. And then I can set a unique target A cost value for this one. So maybe
Oh, I
this one
see.
is
Okay.
going for 30%. This one's going for 35%. This one's going for 40%. Or I guess I typed 50. Let's say 50. This is a ranking strategy, box group. I could have two different box groups, right? I could have one box group campaign is for ranking, another one's for profitability. So,
Mm.
you could split these optimization groups out even further, and you could set a unique prioritization for them as well. I typically leave it as not set, which basically just means when we come back here to this board and we hit optimize, you'll note that when I turn this on, the text here says it's going to apply to ungrouped campaigns and not
Oh,
set. Maybe would be better written not set values.
okay.
So for those other so when I apply a 30% target A cost here, we're going to be targeting that for any campaign that was either not in an optimization group, or if it was in an optimization group, we didn't have a set target A cost for it. It's just going to use what I entered here. For the other ones that we just saw me enter target A costs for them, it will be using those settings and
Mm,
ignoring what I enter here for them.
okay.
Now, because none of them had a prioritization set, everything will be going with these. But if I did set a unique prioritization for them, it'd be using those. So
That
does
makes
that make
sense.
sense? Yeah.
That makes sense. So what are these? You talked about new features, and I know I talked to you about, because I came on so early that I missed the boat for sponsor brands and sponsor displays.
Yeah. Yeah. So at first, when we first launched, we were only supporting sponsored products, but now we do
Yeah.
support sponsored brands as well as sponsored display. There's sponsored brand legacy campaigns too. That long story, but basically they don't work. Amazon's deprecating them and getting rid of them from the
Yeah.
API. So
Yeah.
we can't support those. But any sponsored brand campaigns created after October of 2022, so they're at least 2 years, 2.5 years old.
Yeah.
Those are fine. Anything that's
Okay.
older than 2.5 years old, Amazon's getting rid of them. So, but this is, you've probably seen this screen when you've been messing around with it, but it's basically just showing you what I love about this tool is it's not automated. It's not going to just go run this now in perpetuity with those settings forever, because every single time I'm making adjustments I'm doing bids for my clients, we're slightly tweaking things. I'm maybe going to raise the target A cost or lower the target A cost based on how the overall ad cost of total sales is going, as well as based off of how far we are from our sales goals for the month or for the year. So I'm
Yeah.
constantly like riding this ebb and flow and things like that. Changing the date range too, as we're seeing different trends come through. So it did, like you saw that within a few seconds, it calculated the bids for 2,700 items, both placement settings and keyword and product targets. So it's my job now as the manager to come through here and I can QA stuff. If I don't like something, I can edit the bid and say, that should be 30 cents or whatever. Come through here, clean some stuff up, and then select all of these, hit I confirm changes, and then I can ship that to Amazon. And it goes through in like a few seconds. So that's the cool way in which that works. I think it's a really fast and a really efficient system, and I personally love it. So
Well, yeah,
that's
the
how the
UI.
optimizer works. Yeah.
Sorry, I was gonna say the UI and the UX are Amazon should just literally copy and paste your UI and UX from this and just be like, "Hey, this is the new standard because we love
Yeah.
it."
Dude,
But no, I
our developers are pretty talented, but can I share with you something that probably nobody cares about in the world except for me?
what was that?
I don't know how many other people have used PPC tools out there. They are not intuitive.
No.
And my idea when I was like visualizing what all this should look like, I was thinking we need to replicate the Amazon ads console as much as possible because, for example, if you've been living in the ad console as most people in the ad space do have been,
Yeah.
when you're trying to change the if you when you go into a new app and you're looking for like, okay, I'm going to change the date range. If you have to look, if you're looking around, where's the date range? And if it takes more than like half a second to find the date range, I think it's a bad experience. And so I put the date range right where you would find it in the ad console, which is right at above
Oh,
the
I
table
got you.
for.
No,
Yeah.
I got
So it's a
you.
bunch of little things like that, as well as like how are you picking these cards and adjusting, which different metrics you want to be charting.
Mhm.
And then
I got
really tiny things, just like every other tool out there, you can apply like a filter for your campaign and you can type in, whatever. But I was telling the devs, we need a search box
yeah.
because the smoothness, every campaign manager out there has like named their campaigns in a way to take advantage of a simple search function
Mhm.
box. So if I
100%.
just
You
want
have
to look
to.
at.
You freaking have to. It's
Yeah, so
you
it's just
can't do anything.
a ton of little things, and then there's some other stuff that's just nice that makes it feel really natural, such as like, in Excel or Google Sheets, if you like double click the column, it auto limits to the width of the
Yeah.
text. So all these little things, and um, I mean, I love it. I think it's a very clean UI. Our developers are extremely talented, especially our front end dev team. Um, and there's just some sick stuff. Like, let's just say I want to see how all of my campaigns are doing by ad type between sponsored product, sponsored brand, sponsored display. You instantly see these trend lines.
Oh,
If anyone
man.
didn't see what happened, I literally just dragged and dropped the campaign ad type column and it created a pivot table. If
Yeah.
anyone's ever been in Google Sheets or spreadsheets before, you know how to do pivot tables. Once you learn how to do pivot tables, you realize you're doing them all the dang time. And I was just like, these pivot tables have to be easier. Like, what if I want to see my campaign ad type, but also I want to see my targeting type? So now I can see
Oh my gosh.
between
Look at
sponsored
you.
brands, sponsored products. Maybe I want to see the other way around. Maybe I want to see actually targeting type first between auto and manual. How many of these are sponsored products or sponsored brands? Just switch
Dude,
this stuff around.
you thought of everything.
Yeah,
That
or
just
you want to
makes
see
my
it,
life
or
so
it's
much
like, well, how
easier.
how I want to see the trend lines for each of my portfolios. Just grab and drop the portfolio thing. Boom.
Yeah.
How many like sponsored? Okay, this portfolio's got 5 sponsored brands, 2 sponsored display.
Wow, dude.
It's a sweet tool.
Dude, I didn't even know any of that. I haven't played around with this thing.
So
But
now,
do you have okay, now big question here.
yeah,
Do you have education on this? Like, do you have like a tutorial thing
heck
that you
yeah,
kind
dude.
of go through this? Okay.
Yeah, here's the
Where's
issue.
that
Here's
live?
the issue though, and here's honestly our hardest. My job is right now like a kind of a salesperson, and my most difficult job right now is getting people up to speed on the app because it's not. It's really sick, and I'm trying to make it as intuitive as possible.
Yeah.
Fortunately, a lot of the feedback has been it's super intuitive, because we're designing it around to feel as natural as possible to working in the ad console, to working in
Yeah.
Google Sheets. But unfortunately, a lot of people just like don't read any of our anything at all anymore. So, or even watch videos for that matter. But we do have these optimizer tutorial
Okay.
videos. They're in here. They're also public on our YouTube channel. Um, but this is like an 8-minute version, and of walking people through how to use it. We've already kind of covered everything on this
Right.
recording right now of what was in there, and then there's a 30-minute version, which just builds upon and goes into a little bit more in depth around like, hey, how can you? Here's some ideas for how you can really kind of fine tune some bidding adjustments. Um, and unfortunately, not everyone like has time to sit around and watch a 30-minute video on it, but you can watch it on 2x
But we
speed,
can
cut
play
the
with the
time
bulk
down.
sheet for 2 hours.
That's the thing. I'm like, hey, just watch this video. It will save you time in the end. Yeah.
I know, right?
Or save you a client,
Efficiency,
frankly.
people.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Prevent client churn. But then since we're on that topic, in terms of like how all these bids are calculated, because that would be a 2 hour long conversation if we tried to get into that.
Yeah.
We do have what we're calling our white box bidding algorithm instead of all these other black box tools. We're super transparent with how we calculate it. So we've got these 4 different keyword condition criterias. We've got 3 different prioritizations between reduce ACoS, increase sales. So these 4 keyword conditions get slightly modified depending on the prioritization. So in total, it's 12 possible bidding adjustments. Wow. But each of those bidding adjustments is like kind of self-tailored to each individual ad group and campaign. So it's not just like, hey, there's 12 calculations. It's like kind of, 12 calculations, but like, again, on steroids, because we're factoring in all these individual data points. So we walk through everything in here in this article. It's a very boring read, but it's better as a reference. So if you're ever wondering, like, okay, if I'm trying to increase sales, should I be raising my target ACoS and go with balanced, or should I be going with my actual target ACoS and use the increased sales approach? And you're kind of, it's like, which one's better? Frankly, if you are thinking that question, which I've had a couple of people ask me that is a brilliant question. That shows me you're a pretty intelligent person to be thinking at that level of depth of realizing there's kind of 2 ways you could play it: raise target ACoS balanced, actual target ACoS increase sales prioritization. And if you just come through here and reference this, you'll see exactly what would change between like the ACoS thresholds are going to change slightly and how much we're increasing the bids is going to change slightly. So you can see what would fit your needs in the moment.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad I said that, because I was definitely, I didn't know that was even there. So like, this is just super informative. What else is on the left-hand side over there? Like, what are some panels that we haven't talked about?
Yeah, I'll just tell you one other thing, because in general, I'm really trying to build out this whole thing. So we do have a full education in here. So like, if you want to learn more about like those smart bid ceilings we were talking about, we detail it here. There's just a lot of stuff in here, and we're also starting to record podcast episodes around FAQs to like double down on stuff. Yeah, so it's like, hey, we got an episode in here or we have some content if you're wondering like how to think through bid ceilings. We'll explain it all. We've got a podcast episode on it, all this help documentation. So, anyways,
that's great content.
All right. Coming over to this left-hand menu. I mean, some of this stuff is just like manage profiles, connect, disconnect stuff. But this beta tab is the one that so Dustin, you and I, we connected, and I was like, hey, have you seen this tab yet? Yeah. And then you were just like, no, why don't we hop on the podcast and you can show it to me?
Exactly.
So now this is actually what we're getting into, but
perfect.
I'm so excited for this thing, dude. This tab is, I think, the best targeting tab. I mean, when Amazon released the targeting tab, people lost their minds. They went wild. They said, this is incredible. And the thing that sucks about it is that you can only see like 100 results at once, right? Yeah. And if you have like several thousand keywords, now you might have noticed this load speed was a little bit slow there, right? We were waiting a few seconds. It is a little bit slow, this targeting tab, depending on how many keywords you have.
Just grab that extra cup of coffee, right?
Exactly. Yeah. This was actually, that wasn't even that bad. But this was 12,000. You know what I think it did? Actually, let me clear these filters out to really get the big. I for only enabled stuff. So it might be a little bit slower now that I'm including everything I'm pulling everything, including all of our paused items. Now so it wasn't too bad. 5 seconds.
Yeah, that was not
35,000 rows. But once it's loaded, it's loaded. Once it's loaded, you can manipulate this thing. Like you can sort and filter this and look, it's instant, right? On Amazon, or pretty much any other tool I've ever used, whenever you try to sort the table, it's it's got to refresh the whole thing, but it's like sorting by ascending and you want a descending.
Yeah.
I want to sort by descending.
What is that?
But you can't do it again until it finishes loading, and then you can sort it again and refresh. And it's just like, no, look, this is going to sort instantly because we don't have to refilter. We got all 35,000 rows for you here. You can optimize all 45 or 35,000 rows at once. And it's a super, super clean tool. And there's no pagination too. You're not scrolling through like the first 100 results. Like it's an infinite scroll. You can scroll all the way down to the bottom of 35,000 rows. And look, we got little trend lines and spark lines for every single dang keyword in your account, so you can see exactly what the 30-day spend and sales trends are going on.
Oh my
Obviously, these are like,
god.
I think I sorted this by spend, so we're getting into like the super low spend stuff. We come up to more of the meatier stuff. You see a few more trends and stuff. It's a super helpful tool.
It's
For
super helpful
review.
to see this, especially the trend lines. The trend lines just kinda just give a picture immediately, and that's like
Exactly.
that's as
Like what
as
happened here?
marketers, we want our information as fast as
Yeah.
possible.
What is this? Yeah. It's just super nice. Now, you ready for your mind to get blown?
It wasn't?
All right. So now, uh, we introduce these things called data group, which you can think of them as tags, but we saw that nice grouping function where you can, I mean, actually, you can kind of replicate the campaign console here by just dragging and dropping the campaign column. And now you have all your
Oh,
campaigns like you had before. And when you
yeah.
group them, you can still like sort your grouped items now by spend. So like now I've got my campaign here and I can see all the targets within this campaign. So we have that grouping functionality. And I really wanted additional ways to create like my custom groups. So we have these items
Yeah.
called data groups that you could just come in here and create yourself. You just like take, let's just say these keywords, shift click to select multiple, just like a Google Sheet. Data groups. You can, I only have two created so far here, but you can create a new data group. You name like the overall group and then like whichever values you want for there. So the ones that I have so far is I have a brand non-brand split. And then the two values are just, is this branded or non-branded? And I
Yeah.
just went through and I just tagged everything as either brand or non-brand. And then I have a further breakout for targeting tactics, which is just, brand ASINs, brand keywords, competitor ASINs, non-brand keywords, retargeting or
Wow.
prospecting for sponsored display. So a little bit of work on the front end to get it all set up. But once
Yeah,
you go
but
through and set it up, you just come here and you drag and drop it. Boom. How's our brand non-brand doing in terms of overall performance
again,
for
seeing that data so fast,
yeah.
just that means the world.
Yeah. So we can really quickly see here, like, how's brand non-brand doing? Okay, cool. Now I also want to see within non-brand and within brand, I want to see how much we're spending on non-brand keywords versus competitor ASINs versus prospecting tactics. For brand defense, we're looking at how much we're spending on branded keywords versus our own brand
Mhm.
ASINs versus retargeting. And you can see all that broken out.
Wow.
Or you could start over again and go by campaign ad type first. Within sponsored products only, I want to see what's the spend splits between brand and non-brand. Then for sponsored brands, apparently I don't have any brand defense going for brand. Don't have any brand. I mean, again, I'm everything in here is obfuscated, and so when I was assigning these badges, I couldn't actually search for my branded keywords because the developers hid them all on our.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I kind of made up these badges for our developer portal. On my actual accounts, it's real information. So um,
I believe you. Dude, this is amazing. This ability to basically, like, take, like, um find exactly what I'm looking for within the targeting type, within, like, the strategy, that's huge to me because, there's so many different strategies, to be able to take
yeah,
that and, like, make these pivot tables, like you said, with these trend lines. And that's like what from a agency point of view, have to visually show the client, hey, this is all the data from this specific thing that we're kind of doing. If most people don't ask for only ask for the high level, but if they ever wanted to get into the roots, to visually show them something that I don't have to actually spend hours putting together.
right.
Again, efficiency. This is so efficient as advertisers, as agency owners, to send out to our clients for just updates and you
Yeah,
know
it's super nice.
hours
And
back.
by the way, you can right click on these tables at any point, and just hit export. Even if you got 35,000
Oh,
rows, just export it.
so do anything I want with it.
Yep. And then, I think these data groups are just a super cool and super high functioning concept. And you can see for like the targeting, so you can create, targeting data groups or campaign data groups. The campaign data groups
Mm,
are slightly different from the optimization groups. Those optimization groups are kind of tailored are functional for the bidding algorithm. The data groups are just for like doing exactly what we just did, just kind of grouping and organizing some stuff. Um, I like doing for my retargeting campaigns, I like separating out my 7-day, 14-day, and 30-day campaigns. And if I've got some like I I have one account that has like 100 products and they're all in single product campaigns, and we've got a 7-day look back, a 14-day look back, and a 30-day look back for all of them. And if you just want to really quickly see how do the conversion rates differ on those
Yeah.
different look back windows, you just drag and drop that retargeting look back. It clumps up, aggregates all that data super quickly across the 7, 14, 30-day look backs, and you can see what that looks like. And then something else I identified on like one of the non-obfuscated accounts is I tagged all my campaigns as brand non-brand.
Hmm.
And then I went into the targeting tab, and then I was filtering out for, or I grouped it by, I want to see all my brand campaigns and non-brand campaigns. And then the subgroup was all my branded targets and non-branded targets. And I actually found a lot of miscategorization and misorganization. Misorganization? I don't know if that's the word. Disorganization?
We'll make it one.
Improper assignments where I had a bunch of non-brand keywords in brand campaigns and vice versa for
Ah,
non-brand. So, and I could just super easily see that by just, let's just pretend in this case, sponsored products is all supposed to be brand and sponsored brand is supposed to be all non-brand or whatever.
right.
I can come through here and with these targeting texts, just come through here and be like, these all shouldn't be in these sponsored product campaigns. I can just select this whole group here and then just say like, pause these, boom,
Oh, okay.
and just super quick cleanup. So anyways, man, thanks for letting me ramble. I got to get excited about it.
Well, you should be. You
It's
created
changing
an
lives.
amazing tool, man. You're
Yeah.
changing lives, giving us hours back of our day. I
Yeah. And
mean,
it's just fun, dude. I have fun in this tool.
well, good.
Like
You're passionate about what you
it's
built, man.
yeah, it's so
It's perfect.
satisfying. Just be like, let me see how much I'm spending on keywords versus product targets altogether. Okay, that's cool. Now within keywords, I want to see like, I don't know. I could just go on. You get it. You guys get it. Sorry for boring you. I'm done.
There's no boring
I'll
here.
stop this screen share, but I don't even know how to stop the screen share. There we go.
That's
So
awesome,
that's it,
dude.
man.
That's awesome. And we can. I'll just tell me when I'll just stop the recording, but it doesn't matter, dude. I'm excited for the tool. Like
Yeah.
that tool. This tool is gonna so many clients. I have to sign up like 10 of them today, actually. So,
Well,
um,
the other thing too for the listening audience, the craziest thing about this whole thing is that the app is free.
really,
Yeah. Now in a
how are you
limited
making money?
capacity,
Oh,
a
okay. I
limited
was gonna
capacity. Yeah.
say,
So
don't
full
give away
disclosure.
things
But
free.
it's not like a free trial. Like every other tool out there, it's like, oh, you can get 7 days for free, and then we're going to charge you
Yeah,
$1,000 a month. And like 7 days are up, and you didn't even get a chance to test it, and
yeah.
suddenly a credit card bill comes through or whatever. So our thing is free. No time limit. It's free forever. You can use it for years and continue to use it. And I just think I think it's such a powerful marketing tactic because number one, I just like free value. Like I am a big user and I take advantage of a lot of free value. Like
Yep.
I use ChatGPT, Canva, Loom. I used all those tools for free for like 6 months until finally, like I was using them so much, I was like, all right, I need these pro features. I gotta upgrade.
You hit your usage.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm a big believer in that because I just I've gotten so much stuff that's for free. I think it feels great to give stuff out for free too, and like not everyone can afford ChatGPT Pro or Loom Pro or Canva Pro, whatever, or Adlabs Pro, right? And I think there's a great benefit to just having things be free. I think you build a good reputation by still giving people super high quality support of customer service. Like if you come right now as a user to Adlabs and you're on the free plan and you like submit like a bug request or you use our little chat bubble thing to start a message, like you will talk to me, and you and I can have
Wow.
a one-on-one, you can
Yeah.
ask me questions and I'll help you think through stuff. So, and that for free advice, right? So I think that's great. But then if you upgrade to the pro plan, it's like $40 a month. It's basically free, like
Yeah. That's not
it.
that, for all the tools out there that are percentage of revenue. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Just
dude.
it's insane
I was
sometimes. Like,
I was demoing one tool and I was like, all right, what's it going to cost me? And like they gave me the quote based off percentage of sales, and I'm like, I told them, you are charging me more than I charge a client. Like,
yeah,
I will lose money as
I
soon as
said
I.
that too. I'm like, there's no
Yeah,
way.
yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
my ticker.
Yeah, so we're super cheap. I mean, we're gonna make those prices. Those prices will increase, but only with when we add more stuff to the tool, right? Like
Yeah.
we only increase when we add more value. But anyways, it's great. Hit me up if you have questions or stuff like that on
Yeah, hit
LinkedIn.
'em up.
Yeah, yeah. Best way to connect with me, by the way, you can go to adlabs.app. You could find the tool. You can send me a message from the website. You can sign up for free, no credit card required. And then if you want to reach out to me more personally, LinkedIn's a great place to connect. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, dude, thank you. Thank you for this. Thank you for this demonstration. I'm excited to get started. I'm excited to sign up clients and use it because this is just amazing. So I really appreciate it, dude.
Good
Really,
stuff,
thank
man.
you for.
I'll give you I don't know if I gave it to you already, but I'll give you like you can get the pro version for free if you haven't signed up for pro yet, have you? I forget.
I just signed back up for
Oh, okay. Did I
the
give you
one
that coupon
account.
code? Did you use that coupon code?
I didn't get a coupon code.
Oh, okay. I got to give you the coupon code. I can give your
Okay.
audience the coupon code too. The code that
Yeah, the
we've been
audience.
using is called New Year, New Tool.
Oh, okay.
No spaces, caps. I don't think matters. It's not case sensitive. If the code doesn't work, it might have expired by the time you guys are listening to this. But you just ask me if I can make a new code for you guys. At the
Perfect.
time of recording, it works.
At the time of recording, it works. All right,
Yeah.
sweet, dude. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
Stop recording.